right. Thank you all so much for joining us on this wonderful Thursday evening for some more D&D right here on Lionhead Gaming. And since it is Thursday, that means it's time for some more Song of Rapture, as DM'd by the wonderful one and only Monsieur Omen. Monsieur Omen, I pass it over to you.
Found them venturing forth into the eye of a descending storm in this city of gold, this city of the gods, ready to face off against whatever mighty entity lies inside and seems to be willing to bring ruin to this civilization. But what exactly transpired in the eye of that fading storm and how things ended up is not really my story to tell. So, would someone like to regale us on what happened on the last episode of the Song of Rapture?
All right, last time on El Songo Rapturo, we started off coming out of the strange mirror world underneath the water, facing off against the Serpent of Mirror Waters herself, sharing a bit of her wisdom, answering some questions, and telling us that indeed the creature that we were hunting was also the one causing the storm in the middle of the city. And as we came back out, we learned from Quildor that apparently the storm that had been floating high above the skies had made landfall somewhat on top of the large temple in the middle of the city. Although we were still somewhat beaten and bruised. So, as Samantha's magic did it work, slowly stripping away the storm and its strange transformation magic, we took a breather. For 10 minutes or so, we sat and we ate. Some of us were a bit starved, and some of us were willing to show off some of their culinary skills. Our little new friend Corin wanted to make us some pancakes. It was putting a little bit of levity in the little bit of a dire situation. We sat and we ate, and used a bit, but after not so long a time, we decided to head out, making our way up to the top of the temple, finding sort of onlookers, guards, and all sorts of people sort of gawking at the base of the temple, talking and whispering, many cries of somebody needs to go wake up the Mage King, because apparently he's not nowhere to be seen. But we also heard that others had already ventured up the top of the temple to try to see what had happened. So we made our way with a little bit of a speech to make way for our presence, made our way up to the top of the temple, and before we saw a gathering of individuals, those that we sort of noticed to be citizens of this place, not Yuan-Ti, but simply guards and the more martially capable, those honored to defend this place, seeming to get there before us. But standing amongst them, one strange individual, a Yuan-Ti himself indeed, but guys with large, translucent wings of strange white and red feathering. Something that's somewhat reminiscent of one of our little companions. We see that indeed the winged serpent himself was there. And he told us that he was there for only one thing, to bring back the legacy of the Yuan-Ti people. And he used the might that he stole to do so. To bring the avarice of the Yuan-Ti into the world, to make sure that their greed had something to sate it, but for it to never truly be sated. The Yuan-Ti to rise up and take everything they wanted. But of course, we were here to stop him. And although he commanded pretty strong magic, and it seemed like he completely wrapped up the minds of those people that came here to stop him beforehand, turning their blades against us, some of the lesser individuals simply enthralled by his actions, turning into basically mumbling idiots, just in awe. So we fought through them, putting some to right with a bit of Persephone's magic to strip away the foulness that it seemed like this winged creature put into their brains, as we helped to fend them off, save those we could, and continue to fight. The creature's magic was powerful, and beat the hell out of quite a few of us, and it seemed like it cared not a bit on saving those innocent that were there to worship it now, just beating them aside, just like anything else. But thankfully, with a little bit of trickery with Tamar shooting himself up into the air with his magic little bow and getting a big ol' handful of those wings, bringing the beast down to the ground as we wrenched and pulled and used a bit of strange magic to wrench the crown from his head, an artifact known to Samantha, but now adorned by what we have seen before, one of these strange spheres of annihilation powering it. One by one, we failed, but eventually, with one a lucky little pry, Corin taking his shovel, shoving it underneath that crown, prying it loose, and popping it free as Samantha claimed her prize. As the fight continued, Tamar got sort of the shit beat out of him as the winged creature wanted to fell the beast. But one by one, we freed those that had fought us and whittled down this nasty little creature, eventually showing him the error of his ways of how he cast aside his allies for victory, and we would not abide by that, as we used a bit of healing magic to restore the life of those that he cast aside, as one little foot, kick, headbutt, I think I headbutted him, one little headbutt into the side of his temple brought the creature to his knees, as it seemed like the fight was over. But now... Oh wait, no, there's one more thing. Afterwards, deciding what we would do with the creature, giving the choice of Samantha, Tamar giving a bit of a test to see how she would decide the fate of such a creature. She decided that he could not be redeemed, but it did not need to be a gruesome execution. It simply need to be a act of justice, as it were, a returning of something that had been stolen, as her serpentine ally took back what was once his, crawling towards the felled creature, taking its life and taking back its stolen wings. As the winged creature somewhat rejoiced and congratulated us, announcing that he himself had somewhat tricked us a bit, but not in any malice. He announced himself as the voice of Malar?
Yep.
Malar, the great beast of many lies, one of the oldest entities of the world. He was his voice, as he would continue to aid us in our journey if we wished. As sort of ended the session, still topped the temple, I believe, with a bit of peace in the area, some people in awe, and not a life lost. At least not on top of the temple. Hopefully the streets have not run red with blood or anything.
Very well done. Give yourself some DM inspiration.
Boop.
As indeed we find the Valiant Vanguard at the end of their pretty harrowing battle against this supposed living god, finding his life not taken, instead transferred and transformed through the power of this tiny little celestial snake into what seems to be the original form, restored with the power that was stolen from him, with the announcement that this creature, restored to his full power, would fulfill a promise, an oath, a sword fealty to Samantha Deus and help her with her goal. He would teach her how to become a god. As we return to the top of the ziggurat, you'd see at this point the people have basically come down to their allies, the other acolytes of this temple, basically trying to mend their wounds. You could see Warden Sirefreet has been coming down, putting his hands on one of the wounded, formerly mind-taken acolytes, and just see a surge of fire seeming to restore her life to her expression. As Raziel would look to you, Samantha, wings spread, sort of just still testing them, it seems. They beat ever so slowly, almost impossibly slow to ever keep him floating. Clearly some act of magic. As he just sort of looks you over until his eyes, finally his height matching that of one of you, finally gazes into your own. This path you walk, former Serpent Emperor, is one tasked with danger and trial. You, in your current state, as much power as you wield, as much light as you hold, you are no god. But tracks have been laid in the past, and truths long since withheld from the ears of mortals have held the secrets, some say the greatest secrets, that may lead a mortal to ascend. Your throne is no more. Your palace is gone. Your seat of avarice empty. For you to rise and reclaim godhood, it would not return to the same state you once were. You must achieve your own new throne, your own domain. Sounds quite simple, I assure you, but the task ahead may take you lifetimes. It may take you longer than any creature may hope. But there is a key, a secret, something that, well, I suppose I am the Maw of Malar. Within me holds secrets long withheld in this world. A guidance for you. There are many truths in this world that have been swallowed away, not by Malar himself, but by the forces that bind the gods to this world and all other. Forces that, for all but one reason, perhaps in his mischievous nature, have been hidden from the world. A truth I believe some of you now have proven to be worthy of knowing. As his eyes sort of flash with a soft glimmer of light, and you can hear again sort of like hum in the back of your mind. When you first met Raziel, I guess all of you really met Raziel, there was this connection you felt. He didn't really speak with his maw, he spoke with his mind, with telepathy. But this is something stronger. This is more than words. This is this feeling of a thought encroaching your mind and heavily weighing it down until you can't help but picture something. An image envelops your mind and you're taken elsewhere. You're taken to a dark, cold place. At least it seems like it would be cold. All around you, you can see the soft glimmer of lights that no longer live, the ghosts of life far beyond in what you can only discern to be the void. And before you, immense in scale but slow, tilting, and lifeless, is a single frozen rock. You find yourself in this moment standing, impossibly so, in front of the infant hearth. And just upon its surface, you can see a crack tearing down. Amidst this darkness, this casting void all around, where color and really this facsimile of light seems to be faded, shadows reaching farther than you can see, there is this new thing blooming upon this rock. It's light. And this
We
light
all see this?
moves. Oh, you're all seeing this. This is all in your brain, baby. He's showing
Okay.
all of you guys these Eldritch secrets. You see this world before you, one familiar to you all. Stories told to mortals, passed down from ancestors, passed down from the divine. A world born. They say the first god was the Raven Queen, but none ever questioned why. Why is it that the first god of this world is death? Why is it that a raven sits the perch of heart's birth? That is because the story of this world begins with death.
Time and time again, throughout eon, before there was hearth, before there was any world before it, there were countless generations, countless iterations of worlds before. Worlds in their own spinning silence, worlds with their own gods. All born, all live, and in time all break, and all die. Consumed by the darkness that lies beyond your reach, beyond the reach of anything, the reach of the void. And among these broken worlds, as they are crushed by the infinite expanse, the inevitability of the end, they carry with them, perhaps just chance, spark, motes of light, but truthfully, life itself. And you can see this light now dimming ever so slightly. And again, and possibly so on this rock, you see a figure holding itself shoulder first. This being, this completely like luminescent figure pulling itself out of the crust. And immediately its head turns to face the darkness. And that light surges again and she vanishes as countless sparks expand out into the dark, and you find all around you light spreading. Life from foreign world, from dead world, born. Sune, a descendant from a world long, long lost. Our stories tell you that these gods were forged from the cosmos itself. The ultimate truth is that in their own right, they were born in this world, mortal in their own right, if not human, something else. The first celestial. And when that mote of light was born, when she saw the dark that expanded beyond your world, she knew her purpose, a purpose that would drive her to do anything to drive it away. She found her ideal, her domain, and she ascended. And throughout history, as light spread, so too did more of these creatures crawl from this frozen rock, finding their own purposes and ascending further, clashing with one another, order and chaos, harmony rising to end their war, until life bloomed on this world. Peace was found, and the beasts that walked among it began to look towards the heavens. Your stories would tell you these gods came from the cosmos, forged from their concepts, from their domains, minds given to an idea that is not the God. All ascend. But you may wonder why. Why do you not know this? How does nobody? Such is the force of the cosmos, the forces that guide the gods themselves. No one remembers the young elf who rose to lead her people, who guided them to seek the knowledge of the world. No one recalls the father who forged an empire that would last generations, stronger than ever. No one recalls the kind mother who led an era of peace that brought the end of the crown war. Save for one tenacious little beast who left behind his footprints, the only mortal that through his cunning, these forces drive these creatures out of your mind when they ascend, left his imprint and tracks to follow. I tell you this, Samantha, because you, among the other vestiges, do not stand as the nine have. You were not born of this world. You were not shaped of it. You were simply made for your role. And that role is gone. You cannot be remade by the hands of Malah. Just like so many others, you too must find your purpose, something that drives you beyond your station. It must hold a great ideal, one that defines the three tenets of the great divine. An ideal of leadership, something that must lead you and be led by you. A god must be able to guide others to follow their ideal. It cannot be forced, it must be their own volition. It must be an ideal of passion. You must define this ideal by your very being. As you've known, as many have known, a god represents this aspect of the grand expanse of the cosmos, or of the life they protect itself. It must represent the same for you as a mortal. And lastly, it must represent self. This world you see before you, now teeming with life, those good, those evil, all in their own way, worth preserving. For you've seen dead worlds in this great expanse. You've seen what comes from them. Your ideal must represent something greater than you. You serve your domain and not the other way around. And you must be willing to sacrifice everything for it. As you just sort of, you can see everything come silent. You're still sort of in this, strangely enough, standing in this empty space, watching this world beginning to bloom and hum. Green spreads across its surface. It begins to turn. You can see the edges of walls between kingdoms rising. As eventually you see the world stop and you find as familiar the world of Hearth you live on.
You're muted.
The boy.
Samantha just sort of steps forward. So where do we start?
It begins with you. All gods find themselves in places of leadership, finding those lost to lead. You must guide them towards your ideal. Find your focus. Find that which you wish and believe represents everything about you, and pull them along the path. Guide them. Shepherd them. Like a mother to a child. But I must warn you, as the truth I've revealed, the secrets of the gods, there comes the weight of its burden. No one remembers the mother of elves. They believe her to be an overwhelming force of the world. No one remembers the father of the dwarves. He was born in the heaven, the craft. Though they were born in this world and walked it once. Tome, the story, all but whisper. Perhaps tales of an oft elf who helped guide and end the great war between they and the dragon. The story of you, your connection to the prime. It fades. It is abandoned. Such is the price of ascension.
Hmm. I have a difference in opinion. I am, for lack of a better word, the daughter of Malar. I will leave my own mark on this world. The tale of Samantha Deus, in some way, will remain. for I think it will be necessary for my domain to even flourish. My past must be known.
And I suggest seeking out his foot. He left a trail for all mortals to follow, though it seems none have been able to do so. If you find yourself a god of true conviction, and I believe you may be, I would seek out the path of Malah, see what has taken him, where it will take you, and perhaps your mark on the world will last, and you'll become the second mortal to rise. But this is no easy task. Others have tried, and yet they still remain in the annals of history. But you are a clever beast, as you've always been. I have faith in you. As the world begins to unravel and crumble, and you find yourselves in the next moment, almost like a blink back in Roka, hit by the hot, arid air of the desert as you're taken out of this cold void and returned back into place. Almost as if time had stopped for mere moments for you. However, I do have my own task to attend to. I am the Maw of Malah, and I have found myself cast from the heavens, unable to return for quite some time. Even here, you felt it, closest to the heavens themselves, to the gods. You heard no voice, no calling. The heavens are silent, and that is troublesome in such times. But with my power to return, I must see too what lies in the outer planes. But your bond with me has not broken, Samantha Deus. While I am not here, while I am not manifested in this world, you may call upon my being as you have before. Although, please, for the sake of my dignity, not a cat. I prefer my own form.
You will exist in two places at once, or will I be pulling you from the outer planes?
I am a creature of many minds, and I am one of many faces. I can be in two places at once.
So not quite a goodbye, then.
More of an informal, see you later. There's no true formal way to say that, though, is there? Horrid.
I think there's a phrase in Elvish, but I do not know it.
It roughly translates to "until we meet again."
Valiant
Until
Vanguard,
we
I
meet
thank you
again.
for your efforts. As he sort of turns around to face the rest of you. Were it not for your force and your will and your companionship, I would never find myself returned to this power. And with all that I have witnessed in your presence, the highs, the lows, the culling of this world that seems to be creeping along its corner, I fear for what may come. Your place in all of this may be more than simply that of power. You might find yourselves on the fringe of hearts standing. I can feel it now, as most of you can, the weave unraveling, the veil thinning. Something big is coming. All must be prepared. Even the heavens above. As you start to flap his wings, just rising higher in the sky.
Goodbye, my friend. It will be a story worth telling.
And from the flap, you see his wings take him higher, and then with one solid swoop, his body seems to become light for a moment. And you can almost see the silhouette of what looks to be the Yan Ti he seems to have possessed. Hard to really tell what happened. And then his form becomes thin like a sheet of light, and then it just shoots up into the sky and fades. Clouds seem to part, and Raziel is no more.
Did you know for a while there I thought he was like an evil spirit that was controlling Samantha's mind?
I can see that.
Hmm.
Well, I think this is cause for celebration.
You are her. All this time, standing among us. I could not believe it. You could not be, and yet. As Izael is just staring you down, Samantha, his expression is finally like broken from that stern stare. It's just now softened in disbelief. I am unshackled. I am uncertain. What does this mean? Have I served you wrong? Have I served you ill?
Aw.
Was the path I taken wrong?
No, Isael. Not at all. As I just sort of step openly towards him with just warmth on my face, as all of my snakes sort of come to my shoulders, their various metallic emblazonment on their lengths, giving a nice contrast to the green. You have done exemplary work. When I was the Serpent Empress, you held strong in your faith when all others did not. And now, your faith, your belief, is what has unshackled you. I am not the Serpent Empress anymore. I am something new. Something that I will decide for myself. And so too, you have changed. And you can choose your own path forward. That is what it means to follow in the footsteps of Samantha Deus. I just put my hands on his shoulders.
As he actually looks down at your hands, I guess the first time he's actually recognizing your touch and not just staring with a dead expression. And he just looks across the rest of the group, sees all of their various emotions, and he just sort of kind of cracks a very poorly practiced smile. He's been out of it for a long time, it seems like.
I am unshackled. This is relieving. I feel relief. I feel joy. What is this? But there are others. Others who remain shackled with the old way. They must be removed of their chain.
Indeed they must. Those that accompanied our misguided Sa'eth. They did not all come to this city. Some of them still remain in whatever hideaway he had in the sands of this, I am sure. And so, if you are willing, I wish to go free them. And free those who have turned their souls to the abyss. May they find freedom in the next life.
So be it. We must make way for the new path.
You hear from the corner,
I'm not fucking happy. I wanted that thing dead, and they nearly tore me to pieces.
as Vistus is just like patching up the rest of his wounds, pulling upon some looks like strips of linen, just trying to close up some deep dagger marks and what seems to be a
I guess like a concussive force, like resetting a shoulder.
Did you die though?
Maybe preferred if I had. But
Do you mind,
no
Mr.
matter.
Three?
I'm gonna give him a healing word because I'm all out of fairies. Mwah.
Very well. As he sort of shivers as he hears as his shoulder resets. Nice.
Better?
Your revenge has taken a different bend, I think, in its final moments than you wished. But there is one. A second in command, a lieutenant, serving at Seth's side. One I fear.
Celestis. No.
Yes.
I was dragged to that pit, and I saw her face before I fell into it. Before I lost everything. So be it. If I cannot have Sisette's head, I shall take hers. This time I shall be more prepared. As he cracks his neck and you see his neck sort of get stuck before he pulls it back into place. After some rest.
Well, Seth is dead. And how many more days do we have of the shifting tides or whatever the celebration is for now?
Should have looked towards.
Oh, the high
Kordor.
tides?
Yeah.
High tides are basically going on the rest of the month.
No. Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. If there's still more work to be done, we can at least take a day to rest up after our encounter with him. To cause a celebration.
Indeed. Do we even know where to start in the sands, though, for this lieutenant?
It is somewhere south, I think. If I remember that correctly.
It was the last bit of information we had, yes.
Ugh. That snake-happy creature spent most of her time scouting that temple. It resides at the foot of the mountain, not this, that which those old men live in. Nestled in a dungeon, within a jungle, just at its foot, hidden away in the thrush. It is the last shrine to the Serpent Empress. And within there are foul, foul rituals. The creature knows more of it. I shall go tend to my wounds. As Vistas just sort of shoves past the group and just sort of hops down all these steps with a heavy limp.
Vistas?
He's in a really bad mood.
Aw.
He got his butt kicked. But yeah, seems like we mentioned, as said before, Israka was the one that did a lot of the scouting around the place. There's a lot of infiltrating as a snake, and seems like she knows the most about that place and where it is. And she didn't mark it on your map, but she showed you. It's basically to the foot of the mountain, foot of Mount Cot.
I thought that was the northern base that they left.
Now that's one place he left. That was one of his temples.
Okay.
That's where Cerestis was.
Oh, and then Seth was to the south.
So Seth went up to his own fucking place, which she has a thing that can point you in the direction of, but it might be useless now. In case, there's no Seth.
Fair enough.
So we rest for the evening, we enjoy ourselves. Maybe Gwildor goes and talks to his lady friend and rent another one of the sand boats. We head south?
North.
Hmm.
Towards Mount
No.
Cot.
No, that's
Yeah.
Mount Cot's to the east. It's a west-south. Big old map time.
Yeah, there's the map.
Over here.
Oh god, when you say Mount Cot, I always think it's like Skyreach, like that's where
Nah, it's
Cot
the
is.
best
Okay.
prize.
Yeah, that's where I originally thought the bad guys were, because we got ambushed when we were over here somewhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was what our
And they-
old temple
and
was.
they were
and then
heading over
time
here.
passed.
Yeah, okay.
And then half a year passed, so they moved.
Yeah.
Bigger temples.
So we
But seems
we
lost.
don't need to go this way.
Doesn't seem like it now.
Just do one of those.
Have to
Would
do
it
it.
be easier for us to go to Darumba first
Most
and
likely.
get a sand skimmer there?
You have a
it's
sand
your
skimmer
head.
in Darunga.
That's where all the boats come from. It's one of those things like you can do that, but like the White Sea is the area where the sand requires sand skimmers, and then once you get to the scorched lands, it's just land.
Is there
It turns into sandstone.
are there sand skimmers that can do both? Are there 4-wheelers or ATV sand skimmers that can?
Basically, you might find like a village you can leave it at, but otherwise, for the most part, as you approach, you need a sand skimmer, and you leave it like on the outskirts in one of the small outpost villages. Or people just bring their own. Usually, a lot of sand skimming use is between these two places in the villages that reside within the sands that aren't there within the high tide.
Gotcha.
Always simply be lying on Persephone.
We could travel through the sky. Wouldn't have to deal with the sands.
That'll work very well.
I do enjoy being a cloud. Very free.
Fair enough.
Oh.
So then we absolutely have to do it tomorrow, because I didn't prepare that magic.
Yes. Plus, there are preparations that need to be done on. Well, I suppose, Israel and Vistus' sides as well. Can they accompany us, Persephone? Is your magic potent enough for that many people? Why am I dead?
Let's see.
8. I should be 9.
Yeah, it should fit. I was able to get us and the kobolds out of Skyreach, and that was when we were at like half of us.
Oh god, I want a white screen now. I'm scared.
What happened to the mobs?
Oh.
Oh, nothing. We're in the void. The white void.
Oh,
the
that's
void.
weird. Let's switch back.
There
Reverse
and then,
void. Hey.
Are we
Weird.
bringing Israka as well, or are we leaving her here?
She has done her part in scouting. Fighting is not her space.
Yeah, should be fine. Should be perfectly fine.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm going to the brothel.
Have fun!
Let us take the rest of today and tomorrow. We'll set off the morning of the day after. Need to track down these a few things and make sure that everyone has what they need.
Well, Samantha, before I go on separate ways for the evening, now that you are
That's tradition.
no longer the separatists, as you say, are you now wholly part of the Valiant Vanguard? The big old grin on his face.
Tamar, I made the Valiant Vanguard. Do not give me this.
Wait, does this mean I can't call you Dusa anymore?
Sort of,
Do you want to be called Dusa?
slink around to Tamar Khan's side and looking up at Corin. I have not decided if I want to reclaim my name or stick with what it is I have gone by. They are, to me, almost one and the same. It is simply an anagram and an extension of Medusa. But I will not take offense to such a title or such a name, though Dusa is juvenile, don't you think?
I think it's cute.
Exactly, that's the problem.
That's what nicknames are supposed be.
Fine.
Yes.
Wait, Cora, do you have a nickname for all of us?
Oh, I mean, some names are easier to make nicknames for. I mean, Clodar can just be shortened to Quill. I'm pretty sure that's what everyone else calls you, anyways.
Yeah, it's not easy to come up with names for everyone.
Like Tamar Khan, like I don't really know. I mean, I guess Tamar is a shortened name for Tamar Khan, but I mean, is Tamar Khan like first name? Was that your first and last name?
Tamar is my name. Con is a somewhat of a title. Either one works fine.
I thought you hyphenated it.
It is.
Hmm.
Like the people that name their last name from where they are from. It means several things. It is what I am, as much as it is who I am. But Tamar is fine. And how can you improve upon perfection?
Make
Can't
it
argue with
bigger.
But I have found, I think, where it is I want to see the world from, Tamarkon. Though, I don't know if I will always smile with the utmost warmth. I hope it will be satisfactory for you. I hold out a hand.
We all have our darker sides. We all have imperfections. I do not mean to wash them away, but for us to simply be at peace. I think we are close. If not there already. As I reach out a hand, my massive fucking mitten of a hand.
As you reach out your mitt of a hand, Samantha just seems to sort of collapse into your arm and just slide up the length of it as I turn into a snake.
I will say, Samantha, if the kind do not find their place here, I bet they would feel much at home in my kingdom. With the snakes and the pigs and monkeys living like. The immortal kingdom.
That's right.
No, of course not. But all are welcome there. It is a place for refugees, as it were. Those that find themselves different from the rest and wish for a place of peace and safety. If your kind do not find it here, they are welcome. Samantha, I hope we make many wonderful stories together. As if you let it, you feel it! Something cementing, like a presence. When you turn away from tomorrow, you can still feel him there behind you.
Do you feel it, Samantha Deus?
You also start to slowly feel other connections, lines forming. To your left of Quildor, Swift Hollow, Persephone. A strange net webbed between us. Not Corin, though! Because fuck you, Corin!
Once the false path has been removed, I wish to find myself in Dorunga. The half-bred prince there. He expressed quite interest in the brighter future of the Yonti. I would see to it that he does so with the best interest of the new god to be. I've lived my life of duty to my divine. Though I feel, though I know feelings now, the strange sensation that devotion does not break. Very well.
No, it just seems like he just could. I guess he doesn't have much armor or anything. Yeah.
I would provide vestments. I fight with the scales of my goddess, but they do little to stop forces of magic. If I can be provided better arms, better defenses, to give me protection so I may use my magic much greater.
Comes back, his whole hair snakes tied in a bun. He's got big fucking Gucci glasses. I have
Oh,
feelings
God.
now. Really good feelings. I enjoy this. I found my fulfillment. I bought Vans.
He has grills.
No.
I can unhinge my jaw. You can see all of them. Oh, yeah, he would just take a ton of money and just basically, yeah, go into the city, spend some time, going to prepare himself. No longer gonna try and throw himself at the problem as he is. More prepared this time, covering himself in armor that it seems his goddess wears. Because even God wears armor, guys.
Always wear protection.
Okay.
I bought two
Yes.
sets of plate mail. What? Why?
Big stack, right? They put them on your body twice. He's stronger.
God.
For the house.
Oh, God.
I gotta talk him to it. Yeah, he's gonna go out and spend that money and get him some stuff. All right, the rest of you guys, seems like you have the day. It sounds
Before
like.
we leave,
Ooh,
this guy got beat the shit out of him, right? Like he got
Which
like
one?
stabbed, shot, etc. So Seth.
oh yeah, he looked like he got like he took a heavy beating. His body was incredibly tough. Also
Oh,
managed to
yeah.
dodge those bullets.
Yeah, just before we leave, as everyone's like
Mhm.
filtering out,
Mhm.
Smith Hollow will take some of his blood. I'm sure it's like
There you go.
pooling everywhere.
Oh yeah,
Yoink,
he got dragged up. He
mine.
was still a bleeding mess. But yeah, you see Swift Hollow scoop up some blood.
Yes.
Make sure you're being stealthy about it.
I assume no one's really watching. I mean, if anyone's watching, whatever. What are they gonna do? Stop me? It's
I'll
my
just take some
former
blood.
god blood. Get your own.
All right. Scooping up a small, I guess maybe a half vial or so of blood. Just enough for what you need.
Boop. Hook it up and put it into the poisonous kit.
Okay. So you guys are spending 2 days in Roka or 1 day? What's the plan?
Today?
Okay.
So is it?
As it is
Oh, shit.
evening, so. So sleep night, unless you don't think you want to do the night. In other words, a day. Other words, another day in Roka, then depart the day after.
Quildor's gonna fuck.
Mm-hmm.
All night long.
Well,
Golder,
Yeah.
you're finally at the level. We have to have the talk.
DM,
On
I would like to lay some pipe, please.
Sure.
Yeah, roll for
All
stamina.
right. It's a good question. How would y'all spend your night? Quilder's spending the night at the brothel, reuniting with his close one. What the rest of y'all?
Call in my newfound friend. It seems like we have a day off tomorrow. What do you wish to do? I would like to accompany you.
I was probably just gonna go buy some spices and preparations. I don't really have much to do here. I mean, the library that I wanted to go through is back in Cradle Keep. I don't know if we could teleport back today.
Well, thank the gods that there is no library here, but I will accompany you shopping. That sounds fun. And I will pick your brain. Prepare yourself. But for that, I think I might go see my brother. He's an interesting afternoon. So, find you in the morning.
I'll see you then. So I'll hop off of him. I don't want to go see his brother. Brother's mean to me.
Brother's icky.
Yes. Why did you have to ask that so vaguely and suggestively? Do you know the sorts of things I've seen in dreams, Samantha? Do you know what people just do in their dreams? Do you know how many people are eager to be naked in their dreams when they see me? So you want me to see you in the morning or before I go to bed? I'll see you tomorrow. Persephone turns over and smiles at Swift Hollow. I presume you're going to spend all of tomorrow staying locked in a room, working on something?
Did you have something in mind?
Well, it's a celebration.
I suppose it is.
I want to go dancing, at least for tonight, and then I can leave you alone tomorrow.
Certainly. I will accompany you. I can't think, honestly, of anything else to do at festivals besides spend money. That seems to be the point.
I don't actually have anything I want, so I figured there are other ways to have fun. So let's go.
Lead the way.
She's gonna grab Swift Hollow's hands and just like excitedly skip down the steps.
There's something Swithal would like to do when she returns to her room at night, but
Sure. Mm-hmm. Eustace was in the Runga. He came from the Runga. Yeah. Basically own at this point. Yeah, if you just gave it to Izael, he'd probably find him on his path. Give this to Vissus if you find him. He's moping right now. Okay. I'm his shepherd. They basically results to inns. It seems like you did last time have a free
Brothel.
night at the brothel. Yeah, at the Silken Seabed. You just had free rooms there for all the service you've done for them. Silken
No.
Seabed.
I heard the Silky River, and you will not forget it.
Silky River.
Yeah.
All right. Sure. I thought you left them
When I
at
see
the.
Samantha, walk in,
Did
I
you
make
take
sure they
them or
don't
did you
stand
leave
anywhere
them at
that's
the
a good
Cradle
night
Keep?
up his room.
Okay. Okay. Give me a straight int check. Okay. Okay. Yep. All right. As you guys would go through your nights, anything you guys want to do in particular on these evenings? Samantha's reading through her book. Fuller's laying pipe. Unless there's, well, actually no.
I'm also
You can have a
getting
conversation.
my armor polished.
Okay, sure, yeah. Easily enough. They'd be willing to oil up the edge of the armor. Seems like it doesn't have much effect on the adamantine plating, but makes it look nice and clean, especially after some of the forceful magical trauma you guys went through earlier. But yeah. Let's see. I guess during the night, once you finally calm down, Quildor, and it seems like things are sort of settling down after quite an eventful last few days, traveling, learning secrets of both the world and the the cosmos itself, it seems, whatever's going on there. You found yourself basically just laying next to Nizu. Oh God, I forget to say her name. Like Nuzo, that's it. I'm gonna keep saying
There you
Nizu.
go.
You find yourself sitting next to Nuzo, or laying next to Nuzo, and sort of like in the calm of the moment, she does sort of just turn towards you and just sort of cuts the silence in the air with a random question. So you're going to leave again?
That is the life of a knight. He goes where he is needed.
But you're needed here. You've done so much good for this city. Almost true, you've culled the poisonous, toxic, all speak of the auntie. Things should be better for us. There's no need to hide, no need to cower. There's no need to raise your shield here. It should be peaceful. Why can you not simply settle here? Find peace.
There are more aunties out in the sands that are not free.
So then free them and come home. Come back to me.
Roka is indeed an oasis within the White Sands. But it is not home.
Then I must ask you, where is it that I stand in your life, Sand Whisperer? Are we to be two passing souls? You to live on beyond me and return to your station? What am I to you, Gildor?
You are the respite in the battle. You are the whisper within the sands.
Never the enigma, it seems. Passing and coming like this season. Very well. And she just sort of like just nestles her head against your chest. And I shall enjoy this season until it passes, and await for the next.
All I'm saying is you are in a very particular area code, and I go to very many area codes.
I got hoes in Atlanta.
I'm just saying your Pizza Hut on my phone. Don't ask.
Come on, no one has Pizza Hut on their phone. That stuff's trash.
Let's just say there's a number next to your name, is all I'm saying.
All right. Let's see. Yep, Corin. Actually, yeah, Corin. What are you doing in this last of the evening? You just chilling out? You going shopping? I mean, it's basically the sun's starting to set. High tide's still in full fling. But do you have something that you want to specifically do, or are you just chilling, having a good time?
I'm just having a good time, enjoying the festivities until tomorrow.
Nice. All right, you definitely be like one of the first ones to experience the bulk of the crowd. That seems like word has spread that this invasive force has been taken care of by the Valiant Vanguard, and you kind of get sidestepped as some of the other members of the group get approached and applauded. I guess I mean, you were there in the middle, but you basically saved the day, but it seems the Valiant Vanguard's the ones getting all of the spotlight. How does Corn react to that?
I mean, I've only been in this group for like 3 days.
Okay.
I just go eat, like a lot.
All right. As you make your own legend in this city in the remaining night, as someone's entire coffers set high for this festival run dangerously low after a single evening and a single halfling. Alrighty. And Tamarkan, you just hanging out with your brooder?
Yeah, just sort of hanging out, having a drink, reminiscing about old times, talking about the fight we just had, sort of boasting myself up, and talking a lot about Gorkon. Just, I feel like there's certain things that Tamar wants to accomplish, feels like, with with Samantha's plight somewhat taken care of, it's on to the next thing, and the next worry at the back of his mind is Gorkon and his fate, and he's just sort of reminiscing with his brother about the old family times. Not always good. They did not have the most stable or kind relationship, but he could still find humor in a lot of it. It's like the older brother that picked on you, but now that you're in your 30s and 40s, you look sort of fondly back on it of like, we were just sort of ribbing each other. I'm sure at the time it pissed me off, but we're brothers.
As Gorkon is known for his temper, but if you can break through that thick layer of heated anger, he can be quite an enjoyable creature. I have not seen him in this new form yet. I wonder how the world has changed him. It always seems to change all of us as he looks over at his old wrinkled hand. I must ask you, brother, out of curiosity, it's been a bit time since I've seen you. You've come returning asking for favor. How far along are you in your goal?
Let us say, I know the door, and I know the key. I simply need to bring them together. How have you? I have to admit, when I saw the storm coming, and the sand stirred, I thought for a moment you were close to reaching what you were hoping for.
Oh. Must admit, I'm quite impressed. You seem to have more drive than when we last spoke. You seem more attuned to flouting about with this little friend group of yours, these companions you carry, but now there is determination in your eyes. I must admit, I am feeling challenged now. But, as you say, there is a door and a key. And you see him at this point, you guys have been enjoying some drinks from some tea, but you're drinking from this tiny little kettle, and you can't help but notice on his back shelf, sitting square in the middle, far from any edges, is the kettle you all sort of had your adventure in. Its spout has been corked, and you can see running up along its sides over its top where the lid had opened up and swallowed you all in seem to be ropes, strings of silver and lace, as if this thing has been bound shut.
Interesting. Brother, I do wish you good luck. Although the thing that you have set your eyes upon, when I win, if there are those that have been taken who wish to return, I will see them back. Just to let you know.
That is if you win. The city is such a jewel. For all the changes that have been occurring in this world, I fear for its place. Especially now with these living sandstorms falling from the sky. It'd be much more comfortable in the kingdom, do you not think? Even these walls might come with us. We shall see. If the price is not too great, something wondrous might happen. But for now, it is simply a matter of time, waiting for the door to open. As he just sort of looks out the window, and you can see his eyes, with your incredibly high passive perception, are just transfixed with the last bit of light gleaming off the golden wizard tower.
Anyway, did we reach each other good luck and stand before our Father in judgment, it seems, to see who to be the victor. But I have to say, I stand now with deep fastening frames that, when I see them working in earnest, makes me want to drive myself as well. You might have found ill luck with this, Tamar.
I must say I'm impressed. But now I am more curious. I hope you succeed. I shall see how your journey measures up to mine. But do check on Gorkon. It'd be such a shame if he brought his wrath with him as his gift.
Indeed. If nothing else, I do miss the galoot.
I must admit, so do I.
I will see you today night, my brother. Wish you good luck. And please do not spread so much misery if you can help it.
Wishes, my brother. Wishes are all mine.
Tomorrow. Start heading back to his room as it starts getting late.
Okay. Tamar, Corin, Kulor, Persephone. You and Swift Hollow are chilling out there, running throughout the city.
Yeah, we take a moment to, wash the gore of battle off of us and maybe wear something pretty. And Persephone's going to drag Swift Hollow somewhere to go dancing and party. Wherever that may be.
You find yourself actually driven heavily towards the Elven Market. It seems as if some of the commotion has drawn a lot of the common folk up around the ziggurat, and now that it's finally settled and people are back to celebrating, a lot of the celebration has been condensed around the perimeter of the ziggurat, and one of the places most open for the most people happens to be the Elven Market. And so you'd find this place, this small, slightly shifted culture cut out of your own world, like blooming and teeming with life. And even among the commotion, you sort of maybe by chance, or perhaps as your name is being spoken as Valiant Vanguard sung among the crowds, you come up with some old friends, some gambling allies that sort of taught you the ways of the game that you've become an apparent master of. And they basically just join you throughout the night and enjoy themselves, ingratiating themselves with you, your newfound elven friend, and hearing any stories you might tell. All right. Anything specific you want to do?
Chitala basically submits her wins to Persephone.
Dragged around, gotcha.
Yep, dragged around, but I don't know. Can I like? Okay, I guess I'll take the floor. It's my mic now. As the night dwindles down, as it winds down, and Swithella enters her room, she begins to recite something from memory. As the world tilts in imbalance, as a great power falls, but fate raises another in its place. Life begets death, begets life. Order evermore. All eyes fall upon a hunter, the great matron, who hide behind phases that are not her own. These eyes will pierce her mask in time, so as long as she basks in the light of being a slayer of beasts. And as she's like saying this to herself, she feels herself returning to zero. Like with the T, like before, I suppose, the Summer Queen and before she met the Vanguard. Until there was only, what'd you say? Swift Hollow the Assassin left. There's no Swift Hollow of the Valiant Vanguard, Swift Hollow the Adventurer. None of those lies, only herself. But the hunter belongs in darkness, and to darkness she will return to fulfill her role to the great matron. As she takes off her cloak and uses it to cover, I suppose, is there like a window or something in the room?
There is one now.
Sure. Drapes it over and blanking the room in darkness. Her fate is resigned to the slayer of man. To stray from the path is to draw the strings taut until they must be severed. As she sits at the desk and opens her ledger, her, I suppose, tome as it will, opening it to that dark feather quill where the very word she's reciting stands, lays before her. By Hunter's hand, as she picks up the quill, an old power will fall, so that a new one may rise. As she takes out the vial of success blood. From their ink, as she dips the quill into the vial of blood, a name will be written into this page, the first of many to fill her tome. As she writes Siseth, the winged serpent, into her book, her will be done.
And the blood settles into the paper, and you see begins to dull until the sort of rust color that takes hold as it solidifies becomes darker until it is black. And then from the page, you can hear the soft, like crackling sound as whatever material composed these words that wrote upon the parchment begin to dry even further, decay until they are to nothing but dust. And the entire thing falls from the page. And as they fall, you can see some scattered bits, some of this, I guess, some like coarse, like granular sand sort of material catches onto some of the parchment, just in some points. And to a normal person's eye, it would just appear how, some bit caught on the paper. But to your discerning high perception eye, you would be able to easily notice the slight pattern they make, something written before you, just a single simple phrase. A huntress has earned her mark upon the rising moon. And then the rest of it fades. As it seems like after so much time has passed, Swift Hollow has fulfilled whatever duty was given to her. Now in time awaits, seems to be, a boon, mark, some sort of power. As the night returns.
What are the words that they said? So I can go write them down in my notes.
A hunter has earned her mark. What was it? A hunter has earned her mark upon the rising moon.
Oh, got it.
There you go.
Cataloged.
So she spends her evening. Samantha, what are you up to on this night? Right. How dare you! Mhm. Sure. Let's see. For the reading of scrolls, give me a straight up int check.
You're gonna have to give it a lick. It's a little licky poo. Taste it.
Even with your allies' help, called back in this moment, you realize sort of strangely enough, as you do call Raziel back, his mind, as before he was this great like orator, this ability to speak and call upon the back, or even your own mind itself to speak, like filling images in your head. Now he's sort of more simple in design, how when you first met him, simple and sort of coy, as if you've only pulled a part of him. So his help sort of, limited in that regard, but he does offer you a bit of what would have been advantage, though comping from disadvantage would have been normal. It seems as if you don't get much further than you did before with interpreting this complex, seemingly impossible arcana. This stuff is beyond normal use of magic. It's talking of almost bending magic itself. Not in the same way that like the weave can be woven around something to take away or bestow magic, but in the sense that something itself, something that binds the weave and makes it, can be undone. A lot of it, from your experience though, centers back to that strange image, that sort of reversed gate that Galleon had presented before you. That in the same way that the planes themselves are surrounded by this emptiness, so too can it be reversed, and that emptiness can be contained. It seems to be constantly cycling around this impossible idea of containing nothing, bottling the void, one might say. Alrighty. And it seems like maybe time has allowed it to stabilize, but there is one discernible difference, though. Before, it was maybe about the size when you first met it, like the size of a golf ball. It took a big chunk, and when Luna in her own spirit form touched it, it sucked away her whole hand. At this point, you open up the sphere, and you're very careful with your touch on this thing, because as you do, you realize the sphere has grown almost so large that it fills nearly the entire sphere. It is no longer a small ball rattling inside this orb. It is now like perfectly coring and encapsulated inside. It has grown. Alrighty. As the night would pass, you guys would find yourselves a full day in Roka to simply do some preparations. We'll just kind of speed through it unless there's anything really major we want to do, because we're going to truck on along to the next part of the Gimo game. What do you guys spend your day doing?
In the morning, I visit Samantha to fulfill her dream fantasies, whatever they may be.
Never gets better.
Oh, God.
Is this look bad to you?
Real close look.
Christ.
Yeah, I suppose. So, wait, what do you need me for then? You can just sleep? I'll see you there. I'll see you
22
there.
wisdom right there. That's pretty good.
That's okay. You can just go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Probably not.
Do you tell Persephone, like, any of your plans after you make her conjure Death Orb?
Oh, okay. That'd be easy.
I throw the orb at you and I let it consume you in Dream World.
Just fucking spirit bomb it. There you go.
And
Just
then I have it,
die
and then-
over and over again.
I'm
and
not
then
your fucking dream bitch. You just leave.
And then Persephone has it spit you back out.
Did you learn anything?
I do it again.
Let's make it bigger.
Anything, we gotta do it again.
And I spit her back out again.
Okay, I'm done now.
If you wake up.
Okay.
Oh, did I forget to tell you? I'm the goddess of dreams now. I live here. I've ascended.
That's right.
I mean, with the dream spell, she's not wrong.
Do you need me to stick around? Okay, have fun. And I leave.
Kinda, but
Omelette
just
du
yourself.
fromage.
Just no new
Oh, it's all,
information.
yeah, you're not reading in your sleep. You're just staring at an orb, essentially, rethinking over things. That's about it. Yeah, again, just going over some things before, again, not really having much new time with it. It's just more so you having a more hands-on look at what Persephone created in your mind to be the orb. Better closer look. I guess feeling more hands-on with it, but otherwise not really gaining much new from it. Maybe just more of a meditative state. All right, sleeping through the morning. What about the rest of y'all doing for the day?
I'm just hanging out with Corin, observing him. Had a lot of time leading up in the group of just sort of watching them and figure out how they tick and how they work and what's all the little ins and outs as I watch. Got to get a crash course on Corin, so I'm just being real fucking obvious about it.
Where are y'all at, and can Persephone join?
I don't think I think we're just going around shopping, buying like food supplies for Corin.
Oh yeah, if you make a scene for yourself, people are gonna recognize you as, oh my god, it's one of the Valiant Vanguard. So it'd be pretty easy to spot each other as where the crowds are going as you're walking. So you can usually find each other.
Yeah, just hang out.
Alrighty, chilling,
So
enjoying.
Bella's doing
yourself.
work. I go
Doing
with,
more-
haha, thanks
doing-
Persephone.
Doing more crafting.
Doing more crafting.
Nice.
Reviewing notes, reviewing the book that she, I almost said stole, checked out of this experimental artificer technology, but also the notes that she also did steal from that guy. The basis of a lot of her artificer intuitiveness. And yeah. Because we did level up, right?
You did.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Then working on armor. Ho ho ho
Alrighty.
ho.
But you, cool dog, you just spend the day just chilling, enjoying yourself, hanging out with Nuzo, or you? What are you doing? You just got bombshelled in the night.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go shame the paladins.
Gonna go shame the paladins?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Okay, yeah. You go find a
Gonna be
lot of
like-
them actually
like, oh, you guys are all
recovering in the
holy,
ziggurat.
but yeah.
Yeah. Seems like they've been sequestered into the ziggurat. Even some of the acolytes have been contained. Their minds are still foggied from that pretty sudden shift and pull of their will, and even the paladins themselves seem to have taken some hard lessons to themselves for their oaths. They've betrayed their city against their own volition, of course. But you do see that the leader of them, Warden Seerfried, is basically trying to raise morale, thinking that in the end they found themselves, thanks to allies of the city. It was Lathander's light that saved them, and Lathander's light will continue to guide them. And then along comes Gulor, and he's got
Yep.
things to say.
Oh god.
There's gonna be a big old finger just pointing at him. What's wrong with you?
Sup, Sheds?
No, I'll probably pull the leader aside and just make sure that he's good. Make sure that he's gonna, have a firm talking to his troops.
Oh yeah. Again, it seems like kind of a weird, I guess, perspective. To you, you're a soldier, and when you see, obviously turncoats attacking your own citizens, or at least in this case, champions of this city, that's grounds for all sorts of punishment. But to them, they're kind of like knights, but their oath is different. They seem to uphold something beyond simple soldier duties. They see it as they owe the service of their gods. And in this moment where they found themselves betraying their own oaths, they seemed like, if you came in here to chew their ear off, it seemed like their ears have been well already chewed off. Or like, not even their ears off. It seemed like they've already punished themselves enough. They feel like you almost think they're about ready to turn in their coats. But it seems that Warden has kind of steered them off of that, but morale is pretty low. And as you come to approach, it does seem like he does seem mostly fine. His flame doesn't burn quite as bright as it did before. He's still recovering from the wounds he suffered. He took quite a beating from his own men, and yet he still stands with them. It's all part of the oath he's taken. When you swear yourself before something greater than within yourself, a cause beyond your own life, enter a brotherhood such as knighthood. Their lives come before yours, as is their standing. This is not a place for the Knights of Lathander to fall apart. It is a place for them to stand stronger than before.
I'll just tell them, make sure they don't let that happen again.
Just do better.
Yeah, do better. Don't be a cunt.
I don't know what that word is, but thank you.
Elvish.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It's got chill. Miso was weird.
Australian elves.
She's trying to sink those fangs into me, Man's gotta roll, Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Ivory, do you have anything? One.
Oh yeah, no, we're sitting on character sheets.
He would say he does finally. He really interacted with Warden Sirefree for some time. It seems like he was kind of. He's not one for theatrics or titles, or he heard of the Sand Whisperer, and like many others who come here for glory, he thought it was just another title for glory hounds, and he thought the same thing in the Valiant Vanguard when they became champions. But seeing you fight and actually defending the city, and not just defending the city, defending his own men, fighting them off, and protecting himself and the allies as well, he would actually essentially offer you a hand to shake. And if ever you find yourself in aid, the rightful watch would be at your side as a fellow knight. And if you're willing, he'd be willing, if he had time, to trade blows, if to better themselves. If you find yourself as the pinnacle of knighthood and you wish for them to do better, he'd offer to stand by your side and help train these men if time ever offered itself to you.
Oh yeah,
Strengthen
yeah,
the city
I'll do
road.
that if I got time at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually.
Nice. It seems like you've earned a great deal of respect from the men. Alrighty.
Don't call
What
me,
about the
I'll
rest
call
of
you.
You are also Pizza Hut.
Oh God.
All right.
You're all Pizza Hut.
As you guys want to do in the city? Nice. Yeah, you probably, if you're just looking for something to help you stand out and catch attention, they do have something of a particular weave here. Oh, I don't think I have a tailor here. That's fine. One of the tailors actually has a magical woven dress. When they first mention it, they call it a sundress, but when you see it in full form, it's quite apparent where the name comes from. It is this lavish amber, like flowing gown, but it still holds tight to the form, flexible. And as light seems to touch it, whether from sunlight or firelight, the whole thing just seems to come alive and move like fire. It is as if you are the walking, not the walking sun blinding everyone, but the warmth and the radiance itself. And yeah, way too expensive in the same way that they had a magic flying carpet that was way too damn high. This thing's considerably out of people's pockets range, and not everyone really seems to have the figure to fit it who has the coin to pay, as it would cost about 300 gold pieces.
Done.
Boom.
Oh, to be wealthy. Go on.
Okay, and then with the night, you would spend, along with, I guess, seems like some of your other allies who are spending time here. For 70, were you just partying? I forget. I'm trying to remember who we got through. 70,
Yeah, she's Tamar and Corin because they're
Hanging out.
around. Yeah, and hanging out.
Yeah.
Shopping
Swifty-
montage.
Yeah, she knows Swift Hollow likes to stay inside during parties, so she partied with her last night, and she's going to spend time with friends today.
Nice.
Get swept
Alright.
up in my throng. Do it.
As time would pass, evening would go on, some attending to their own business, others working, and for a majority of you seems to be sweeping through the city. It seems like the party is ever moving as the tides seem to shift, and yeah, you eventually find yourselves together, find yourselves maybe the rest of the evening fully enjoying and celebrating this new bond forged since you've left the Elven Kingdom and found yourselves, most of yourselves identified, and of course spending time with a new friend. Good shit. All right. But if there is nothing else, y'all, the evening would come to an end, and although the festivities still continue through the city, it seems that there is a task at hand. You'd find yourselves in the morning greeted by a few of your Gonti companions. It seems like Israka has finally rejoined the group. She's heard the tales of their victory and has since been slinking around the city, enjoying the festivities in her own part, mostly as a serpent, and sort of her friendly demeanor being passed around by onlookers as a pet almost, enjoying the attention. And yeah, other allies approach as well. You see Vistus come, seem like he is just coated seemingly like in a long flowing cloak that covers most of his form, but probably to a more perceptive eye like Temercon, Persephone, or Swift Hollow, you'd notice that his form is particularly padded, covering what looks to be a number of assorted small objects. A pommel sticking out from one of his hips, you'd assume to be several knives, covered in blades. And then Izael being the most apparent, his form is kind of loud and clunky. You'd hear the rattling and clattering of half-plate armor sticking to his form. And he seemed like before he was this quiet, slinking thing, but now determined and finding himself with purpose, he allows his presence to be heard with every step as he steps on in, covered what looks to be some dense and well-decorated, very, very ancient Rokan, ancient Mobian style, almost like Aztecian-looking armor, as he's decked himself in some armor.
Well purchased, both of you. Well, I am ready to set out.
And they tell me you're going to head to the temple. Finishing off the last of the cult. That is good. That is good. Do not allow those things to fester. They're quite cruel creatures. I will warn you, though, the place is filled with many, many forms of magic. They like to practice all sorts of terrible things there. Be prepared for all sorts of... I mean, you're going in there... Are you going to sneak in? Or are you going to walk in and fight everyone?
With how we are, I think we are just going to make a very grand entrance.
Okay.
Should be fine. Just watch your step. There are many traps laid throughout. Not made for those who slink across the ground as we do, but those who step on feet, well, they may find themselves stepping into trouble. Oh, and if there's a giant snake ask you questions, just say nothing to it. You'll be fine.
Say nothing to the giant snake.
Not really worth it. You try and it gets a little dangerous.
Alright then. Are you going to stay in Roka?
I may go with you if you wish to show you where it is. It lies within mid of a jungle. It's a path I've taken several times, but I will not be going in. No, if you're going to be making an entrance, I do not wish to make such entrance. I do not have. I'm not much of a fighter.
Look to Persephone.
Are we ready to go?
Can your magic accommodate her as well as a guide?
Yes. She can show us the way there.
Well, alright then. And you can wait in the jungle nearby.
I very much like that jungle. Many low-hanging branches, easy to climb, especially if you don't have heart.
Alright then.
All right.
As
With
with
match-
Hollow.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
as
Ooh,
with Hollow
go on.
steps out, rejoining with the party. Her armor looks significantly different. It's more. I suppose it looks more. I wouldn't say. I guess the correct term would be for us, modern? Question mark. Doesn't look less. It looks less like boiled leather with studded. I suppose studded studs, reinforced in certain places, but it looks more like. I guess it looks more robotic, automaton-like.
Like a rather than human hands carefully practiced to make fine lines, it looks like something with inhuman perfection put this thing together, like a machine, one might say.
As it, I guess the thing, my greatest like fucking thinking fantasy would be like the Nightingale armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfectly fit to your form.
Yep. It seems to have
The
a shadowy
metal
mask.
Nightingale armor or the leather Nightingale armor?
It's got a Nightingale armor.
Okay.
No, the Bioshock Nightingale armor.
Mhm.
No, the
Giant
Bioshock one.
Giant metal
Wait,
bird.
seriously?
Yep.
Oh no! God damn it! Because I didn't know that there was a. Okay. Yeah, you said like the leather one. Okay. With the poison aura coming off of you and everything.
Nah.
There you are.
There she is. Yeah, her hood isn't open, her face isn't really shown, but it's more covered now. Covered up. New armor. Woo!
That really
Hmm.
suits you.
Thank you. I took some
And-
inspiration from someone else.
Who?
Not my design. Admittedly, although I did reiterate upon it, it was fairly, how would you say, raw, unrefined.
I'm curious who would be an inspiration to you, Swift Hollow.
Oh no, not them. I inspired it from their design. They made the prototype.
And you perfected it.
I did perfect it.
Our talents widen and our prowess deepens. but it seems our challenges rise to meet them. We will go into this with the same rules of engagement as we have before with dealing with the Yonti. Those who have lost themselves to the abyss, at this point, you need not show them any mercy other than a swift death. But try, if you can, to incapacitate those like myself and our wonderful compatriots. And give them a chance. A chance at a new beginning. Persephone, whenever you're ready.
Alright, so if you've never done this, you're going to turn into a cloud. It's going to be very weird, but we can still talk to each other. Please do not get separated into the other clouds. This is going to last probably a day, and we'll need a minute when we hit the ground.
Mm-hmm. And most importantly, whatever you do, don't fart.
Comes out solid.
End of joke.
But
Well, it just becomes a part of you. When you form back into yourself again,
Oh,
you are just part fart now.
Homer has become so much funnier now that I know he's joking. Okay, as Persephone gathers everyone close around and spends the next minute casting Windwalk on all of us.
Alrighty. Bodies turning into corporeal mist over the course of a minute until you're mostly solid, but you still pass through things as if gaseous. You still have yourself, a sense of self about you. And yeah, you guys just shoot off into the sky and take off over the city of Roka, flying over the land of Mobia. Some of you guys grown quite accustomed to in the last several months of travel and luxury you'd spent for, or just shortly after you became Dragon Slayers. And you guys will be finding yourselves flying, just about a perfect 300 miles or so. In this time, it would take you to travel by, let's see, you're leaving, you spent some time in the morning getting together. You probably, maybe early afternoon, find yourselves at the end of your travel. It'd be a bit exhausting, just because you're constantly moving forward in this strange windy space, but you are covering lots of ground. And you'd land just at the foot of the mountain. Israka, in this strange form, who seems to be just loving the freedom of this serpentine movement through the sky, takes a bit of, I guess, regathering to sort of get her back into her senses. She basically mentions that you'll find yourselves at the very foot of the mountain, a bit of an alcove, and then sort of into the mountain itself. And then once you break through a valley, it should lead into a collection of green, a small pocket of which, hidden away from the hot sands of the scorched lands, and offers a bit of respite for the creatures who reside in that area. It should be a sort of tucked away jungle. But you guys are traveling for a full day in this windy form. Is there anything you guys want to talk about or do while you travel, or are you just fucking deadlining it straight to the temple?
Oh, I know. I'm going to ask Corin a question.
Oh gosh.
What's up, Quill?
Corin, you like stories, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the story of the Jug and Samantha.
Wait, what? Sorry, say that one more time. I couldn't. Oh, you mean
Tell me
the
the
tea
story
kettle?
of the Jug and Samantha.
You mean the tea kettle, right?
Sure.
Oh well, I mean, it was pretty surreal, actually. I don't know what or why exactly it all happened, but I guess we went inside the jug, faced a giant serpent lady. Soon, from what we learned, like towards the end of that, I think she took that form for Samantha, some sort of realization type thing. We fought like mirror versions of ourselves. That was pretty fun. I got to beat up Tamar Khan again. Uh, and then they talked. I guess that was basically the gist of it. It's a lot of self-realization stuff. You missed out a lot, you know. Oh, she answered a bunch of questions for all of us. I got to hear my God's voice, which no one else has. So
And now she's good.
was she not good before? I mean, I know she wasn't good before, but I don't know her in between. I guess her falling and when I met you guys.
Well, must have been a good experience.
Seemed like it was. Are you good?
Why wouldn't I be good?
I don't know. I don't know you that well.
I'm pretty simple. I stab things. I make sure people live.
How do you do that if you stab things? Do
I
you
stab
stab
the
them?
bad things. I
Oh,
make sure
okay.
the good things live.
Oh, okay. See, that's a better explanation of that. You should keep to that explanation. No, I'll probably just ask you a quota, where you come from. I haven't been to the Elven lands before, so I mean, I guess I could also ask Persephone that, but I want to ask Coulter first because he's right here.
I come from the land of Tyrion.
Last I heard of Tyrion, I mean, I mentioned this before. There was some sort of civil war. Is that
Indeed.
over?
Yes, and we won.
Oh, so there's like no ill feelings there, like at all.
Not on my part. Some of the people where Persephone is from, were not a fan of me being there.
I mean, I can
But
imagine.
there's been peace for quite some time.
I had another question, but I lost it.
Oh no.
Fog brain, it happens. Okay. Is there anything else? Young one?
Tomorrow,
Jordan,
just
you're
enjoying
muted.
the feeling of being immaterial.
I do genuinely do that for the record.
Sure. Yep, Eziel just seems pretty focused in getting here and I guess accomplishing this first task on his new path. Israka's just kind of nervous about leading you back here. It seems like you guys are strong enough, it should be fine, but it's mostly she's seen some horrible things inside there and just doesn't want to see any of her new friends fall prey to them. And Vistus is just kind of quiet. He seems also focused, but more so just distant than how Eziel has become. He's opened himself up and allowed himself to be open about his feelings. Now he's actually quite excited. He's expressing and finding himself excited about these expressions. It's alien, but Vistus is just darting on ahead every time there's that moment of, hey, buddy, what's up? A little faster.
Yeah, she has a good feeling with understanding Vistus and where he's at, and trying to think of a way to help him with his overall actual problem. Because holy fuck, does he have an adventure or backstory if I've ever heard one.
How about that?
But yeah, I also take some time to try to get to know Isaraka and Israel, just a bit about their past before I
Sure.
had the privilege of meeting them. Not necessarily right
Sure.
this second, but just
Sure.
in terms of I don't know, give me a Google Doc in like a week.
I can just give you a rundown. Izael was born in one of the small roaming villages in the White Sea. He lost a lot of his clan, a lot of his little circle during one of the high tides. Apparently, one of the great, call them serpents, but you know them as the purple worms, actually came and sort of destroyed his alcove, and he was the sole survivor. And he found himself crawling towards a shrine that persisted, and he stayed at that shrine sort of as an oasis from the sand. And he basically made do with whatever he had, starved nearly to death until he was basically empty of anything. And once the sand finally cleared and sort of this last piece of island, you'd call it, faded away, and he just sort of had left, the sand had faded, the tide had fallen back. He found out it was a broken shrine to an empress that had since gone silent. His clan was quite reverent of Medusa, and it seemed that she had, in her own way, saved him. And so, in this moment, he realized that despite all the falling away of faith, that there was some power that resided, that she watched over her people, whether it was chance or not. And so he threw himself fully into devoting himself to Medusa. Her teachings, her calling, it kept him alive. Even when he was completely emptied, it kept him on his feet. And so he has found himself in Roka, where the cities of where the gods are closest, and where the last few places exist that Medusa's, I guess, worship is respected. And that's sort of where he waited. He just sort of did what he did before. He found himself a shrine, and he waited until time passed. And then when the serpent came up, there's a problem. Someone was usurping her role. He went lecturers, and he found someone who was strong back in Oakwell, but that man didn't seem to stick around too long in this circle. So he instead followed after you. He was pretty taken by Gregory, it sounded like, after he got his ass beat. Israka actually lived in Darunga all of her life. She just was one of the few lucky purebloods who was able to turn herself into a snake. It's a random gift, some say mutation of her kind. Either a blessing or curse. Happened involuntarily a lot until she kind of gave into it, and she found herself usually less repulsed as a snake by people around her than if she was a person. People are pretty mean to Yanti, and they don't really like them keeping around. But as a snake, you could hide as a snake, you could slink, and even some people who find themselves, attached to animals, like some passing druids, and even the Lucky King himself was quite taken by animals and seemed to take a liking to Israka, and that sort of awakened something in her, sort of a realization that maybe life would be better as a serpent. She's seen better, and even now she enjoys herself being in this animal form because it seems she's more welcomed, and she sort of just recently accepted that she can just be a snake and she can still be herself. So she's pretty free right now. She's pretty fulfilled. The one thing you get, not from Vistus himself, but from Istraka, is that Vistus doesn't really know a lot about him, but from her time sort of spent in this forced conclave of Yanti, she knows he was a family man. He had a wife and a son, and he was taken away from them by the Yanti, forced into the pits, and was turned to Yanti. And what comes with that, as most Yanti have until they find that fulfillment, is that he is empty. He has no emotions, no connections. His feeling of love he once had is now gone, and he hates that more than anything. He hates the fact that he thinks about the people he once had and feels nothing anymore. And he refuses, for whatever reason, to ever even trying to see them. Israka thinks he's afraid of what he might feel if he sees them. Could be nothing.
All right. Death flag sufficiently raised. Got it.
Oh God.
Oh,
I'm emotionally invested in all three of them now.
Time for them to die horrible deaths.
All right, but yeah, he's got a quick rundown. Quick, speedy rundown.
All right, cannon fodder, go proc all the traps for us. Go on.
Oh, look, you got
Yeah.
backstories. That's good for side characters.
Wow,
Right? Got any backstories?
Oh, they have backstories? Man, I've seen enough anime to know where this is going.
Oh God.
I
All
love
right.
This
each
is
of
the
them.
backstory episode before their death scene.
But if there's something else, we'd
I
find
am
this. Oh, go on.
fine. Because we're all talking. So Persephone
Oh,
had a
yeah.
question she wanted to ask Swifthall, but Melanie forgot. So yeah,
Sure.
just flying around Swifty. All of us are clouds, just vibing. So Swifty, I like your armor. I already said that. I already said I liked your armor.
I should find a picture. Hang on, there you go. I like that remastered texture.
Ooh, yeah.
Remastered texture.
God damn.
Can I you're usually honest, so I'm kind of curious. You mentioned about going back to 0, and I guess it wasn't what you were expecting. What does that mean? What is going back to 0?
Oh, you mean going back to Hero? I see
What?
you. Nothing. Anyways, I suppose you could think of it as me going into trance. This is really the only way I can describe it, I think. It's stilling my mind, going to meditation. I used to do it. I think the girl that I was before used to do it a lot. When she needed to get away.
Get away from what exactly?
Sothala shrugs. That was centuries ago. Oh, the cloud shrugs.
Cloud shrugged.
It doesn't actually because this is an allegory, but you
I
know.
like to imagine you're like a cloudy humanoid form with like a ghost tail.
Yeah, that's what I always pictured.
Oh, so we're not actually just puffs the cloud, we're just like cloud-like. Alright,
No,
yeah.
Persephone's just like a cloud butterfly, though.
If you like try to punch someone and just be like, wouldn't do anything, can't hold an object.
Gaseous.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, clouds with hollow shrugs. That was centuries ago.
We're all just Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Basically.
Before she saved you. I thought that. So, for a while, I thought you were serving Blackburn, but that's not who you ultimately serve, is that?
What makes you think that?
It's a question that you asked the serpent lady. It doesn't make sense that you would be trying to see if you were still pleasing her. If that's an answer you can just get from Blackburn. Which means that you needed to get the answer from a source that wasn't something you could easily communicate with.
Hmm.
And you also said she saved you. People that say that about other people, but they also say that about gods? So I was just wondering.
I pray one day I may tell you that. It is why I said I got too deep into it. My meditation. I suppose I forgot about all of you. In that one moment. I would ask that you wipe that from your mind.
So when that happens, I mean, I was going to. I thought maybe it was out of necessity. You know, what you did to other me. But are you saying that that could still happen when you're in that trance?
What do you mean?
No, you know, Persephone takes her ghost head and just like lifts it away from her cloud body.
List what?
Her head. She takes
Oh.
her cloud head and lifts it apart from her cloud body and puts it back
She's now
down.
nearly headless Persephone.
Headless butterfly. I suppose that's a good question, but I don't have that answer either.
Okay, but
Perhaps
you
there'll
wouldn't.
come a day when I can tell you.
Cool, are you popping Miss Pills?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah, brother, that's what I'm talking about. We all
Okay.
have secrets we want to keep, Persephone.
I know. Well, then I look forward to when you feel safe enough to tell me. That's all I got.
Swimming through the air as you do. Eventually, as the sun falls behind the eastern mountains, long shadows being cast over the edge of the scorched lands, you'd feel your magic beginning to wane, but you would find in those last few minutes the horizon coming to meet you, Mount Kot's Edge, greeting you as it did before, although you no longer aim for the mouth of a great volcano. Instead, you find yourselves descending down to the edge of what looks to be a small gathering of spires that once you land and find yourselves a bit exhausted as you've traveled basically a full travel day to get here, you stand in a small valley leading open to this great green jungle, this almost overgrowing through this valley of mountain space. As you guys would step forward, I'm assuming with Istraka, after the magic finally falls away from you and you find your solid forms reclaimed, you venture forth, probably about an edge of a mile or so, and she'd sort of stop to look at you guys, asking, "You guys traveled for a full day. Do you want to rest another night in the jungle, take a camp, or because you guys traveled for over basically had to reach 300 miles to get here in that distance. So you'd be just at the edge here finding this place.
Yeah, we
You guys are
traveled
gonna
for like
roll on
8 hours,
in.
right?
Yeah, so that's your full travel day, and that's basically okay time for rest and not travel.
Because we'd have another 8 hours before we'd be able
Yeah.
to take a long rest, right? Because
Oh
you had to
yeah.
be up, you had to be awake for 16 hours.
Oh yeah. That's the whole point though. Is I spent 8 hours traveling. Awesome. Okay, time to not travel or do anything. That's usually how that works. So you can like venture forth, but you might be pressing a little bit in terms of exhaustion, unless you want to venture sleep in the edge of the canyon. Won't be like super exhausted. Just be like, yeah, you just kind of be tired. Like, okay, I use a spell, got some magic in my hands, keep going.
Uh, I think we're gonna go towards the dungeon.
Okay. So still
If I'm
laying down
understanding
your
things
shoulders.
correctly.
Yeah, basically just state of mind thing of like you guys just landed here. It's been 8 hours of travel. Usually that's the end of it. Ugh. And now you're pressing on. Okay, we got
I
here
mean, I don't
on our
sleep,
feet
so I'll
on
be
the
all right.
dungeon.
We took an 8-hour car ride,
Yeah,
essentially.
with no
We
pit
get to murder
stops.
shit. Quildar's ready to go.
There you go.
Quildor
As you guys would
will
find
rejuvenate himself by decapitating things.
Yep. Yep.
as
Big
stepping
computer
on, pushing
man.
yourselves forward. Yeah, a bit of weight behind you as you did travel again. Full travel day. You would find yourselves venturing closer into the jungle, and the sounds of the winds of the desert behind you fades away. And instead, you find sort of soft crackling of branches as you enter the edge of a thrush that becomes this again now spilling and overflowing jungle. It looks almost as if the ground itself has been made completely uneven here. The earth upturned. Trees, as they grow larger and taller, no longer grow straight up. They bend and curve their branches like long, thick vines that seem to overgrow one another in the rock spaces until they overgrow one another, and you find yourselves walking between these overgrown trees that make their own sort of canopy, very much like the Feywild, although it seems the magical presence of that place does not touch here. Simply the way of nature. And as you venture forth, just maybe about an hour or so beyond your markdown, you would find an edge of what looks to be just the flat side of the mountain, wedged into its face, is covered in vines, old decrepit stonework, large spires that seem to have markings on them written in some scratched versions draconic, but the text curls and sways in writing, staple of the Yanti people and how they write draconic. Everything comes in swirls and zigzags, mimicking the shape of a coiled serpent. As you approach, these stones become more jagged and carved and really truly desecrated. You'd see as if something hard, like a claw, had carved into the stone, ripping and tearing into these horrid viscid shapes. But only, I think, Samantha would be able to recognize some of these shapes, you'd call them. To a discerning eye, it is just like the works of a rabid animal. But to someone who is familiar with the script, to someone who understands what these, I guess, the intention behind these vicious attack marks are, you'd realize that these are markings in the language of Abyssal. And breaching through this long, almost like walkway of tall spires that break down, torn from time and swallowed by nature, you'd find and hear this soft, like moan, the sound of wind pulling and pushing through a structure. And walking up this long walkway, just past some thrush, you'd find the entrance of a long, seemingly emptied and desecrated looking temple. Its mouth hums with the sound of soft babbling water pouring from its entrance, and wind echoing from from basically large chamber. Doorway seeming to be about 15 feet tall, about 10 feet wide. What should be steps instead are these long, smooth rivets that rise up almost like a rough ramp. And Israka sort of halts herself in her stance. She keeps herself sort of hidden behind one of the pillars, her eyes gazing around until they lock with what looks to be a large serpent statue coiled up around the top of this thing. Although it looks like this thing's seen so much damage, most of its face has been broken and missing.
This is all that is left. The last shrine of the Serpent Empress. Inside, danger. You wish I would prefer to wait here. There may be patrols I can simply keep an eye out. Danger comes looming in. I will do my best to let you know.
No. If we are assailed from the rear, we will handle it. I want you to focus on your utmost safety. To lose you now would be a heartbreak.
But I was trying to be nice by saying that. I'm going to go hide.
Hide away, Isaraka. You have done very well. As Samantha will say some pithy and impactful lines, probably next week, to give everyone some motivation as we prepare to descend into this place. But that's inspiring
Okay.
leader. But next week, not right
Are
now.
we going to knock them out or are we going to kill them?
I'll remind you next week.
Hi, yuck.
But I did say that we're gonna repeat the same rules of engagement, just so you know. Kill demons, knock out normal boys, and all that good jazz.
Try to save them.
Yeah.
Blades in hand, some newly armed, others adjusted for this new fight. Finding yourselves blessed by new strength and a night's sleep, although fresh off a long travel. This is not the worst thing you have faced before. You faced terrors far beyond this, but the secrets that lie inside are still yet to be discovered. As that is where we'll end tonight's session with the Valiant Vanguard staring down truly the maw of the Yanti Temple, eager to bring an end to this cult, culling away the rest of the serpent once and for all. Yo, that snake, graffiti. Samarkand draws a little graffiti on the side. No snake. That's all I got.
It's
Return next week, entering into the dungeon.
Put like a couple scales on the arms and the face of the Yanti normal dude. This almost looks like. This makes you think of the fucking Ghostbusters logo.
I ain't afraid no snake.
I ain't afraid of no bed. Invisible.
Oh,
Jesus!
no.
Oh no!
It got slathered. No!
Oh no!
Not again.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Oh no!
Thanks.
Don't put that there.
What's happening?
Not-
Jeez!
Not again, monk ass.
Oh, it's a
Thanks so much, everyone, for hanging out with us tonight. Hope you had a fun old time. Thank you, the Role Players Guild, for the raid. Love you guys. Go check them out. They are awesome. I want to remind you that we will be back this upcoming Sunday for more Heroes of Thylea with our wonderful mythical Greek adventure that I DM, and then hopefully be back next Thursday for more Song of Rapture.
Pretty
All
good.
right, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for that. Thanks again for hanging out. Feel free to join the Discord or follow on Twitter if you are interested in updates to the schedule and my own crazy thoughts, along with our discussions on UA and all this other stuff. There's an upcoming book coming out for D&D that I'm sure we're going to be yelling at each other about and soiling brown pants and all that good stuff, ranting, raving, slathering, who knows. So you want to be a part of it, hop on into the Discord and be a part of it. But yeah, that's all we've got for you tonight. We're gonna go ahead and share the love with someone else streaming some D&D. And as always, dice roll 20s, and you always make your saves.
Later, y'all.
Hiya.
Bye.
You haven't got your shots yet? Go get your shots. They're free.
Pretty cool, like almost like mini